We are interrupting our scheduled programming for a major development in Southeast Asia. We are receiving confirmed reports from Manila that the situation in the Philippines has taken a violent and potentially historic turn. Just 2 hours ago, White House Press Secretary Kathy Bushkin confirmed that President Hart has formally denied a request from Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos for emergency airlift via U.S. military assets at Clark Air Base. President Hart, sticking to the non-interventionist doctrine he campaigned on, reportedly told the embattled dictator via secure telex, "The United States will not interfere in the self-determination of the Filipino people." That decision appears to have sealed the fate of the Marcos regime and ignited a bloodbath. We go now live via audio link to our correspondent, who is currently taking shelter near Camp Crame in Quezon City. Can you hear me?
I hear you. Huh. It is absolute chaos here. The standoff has broken. Repeat, the standoff has broken.
Reports are saying General Ver gave the order to fire?
Yes, around 3 a.m. local time, when word spread that the Americans weren't coming to save Marcos, the loyalist forces panicked. They realized there was no exit strategy. We saw Marine units loyal to the palace ram through the human barricades at the Ortigas intersection. They didn't stop for the nuns. They didn't stop for the civilians. They opened fire. They are using tear gas and live ammunition on the crowds. The people power movement has turned into a war zone. But the protesters, they aren't retreating. They're fighting back. They've seized weapons from fallen soldiers. It's hand-to-hand combat on the highway.
And what of the president? What is happening at Malacañang Palace?
Smoke is rising from the palace grounds. With the U.S. helicopters grounded at Subic, Marcos is trapped. We are hearing reports that a splinter group of the rebels, led by Colonel Honasan, has breached the palace gates. The presidential security group is engaged in a heavy firefight inside the compound.
Do we know if President Marcos or the First Lady are alive?
Unconfirmed reports are coming in from the opposition radio. They are claiming the mob has entered the private residence. They are claiming they have the president. Listen to that! The firing has stopped at the palace. They've taken the main balcony.
Stay safe. We're going to try to get a visual feed. You are looking at live satellite imagery of the seat of executive power in the Philippines. It appears the Marcos dictatorship, which has ruled for 20 years, has fallen in the last 30 minutes. But unlike the peaceful transition many hoped for, this has ended in fire. We are waiting for a statement from Corazon Aquino, but questions are already mounting here in Washington. Did President Hart's refusal to provide safe passage sign Ferdinand Marcos's death warrant? And with the pro-American dictator likely dead or captured by an angry mob, what happens to the strategic U.S. bases in a country that now feels abandoned by its oldest ally? We have a new update. The Soviet ambassador in Manila has just issued a statement recognizing the revolutionary forces and offering immediate medical aid to the victims of the crackdown. A move that surely won't sit well with the State Department. Stay tuned. We will have continuous coverage of the fall of Manila throughout the night. Good morning. Tension is at a breaking point inside the Beltway today. Following the violent collapse of the Marcos regime in the Philippines less than 24 hours ago, the Hart administration is facing a barrage of questions regarding its controversial hands-off foreign policy. Critics on Capitol Hill are already calling the events in Manila a preventable tragedy, accusing President Hart of abandoning a longtime Cold War ally to a mob execution. Meanwhile, the Soviet Union has wasted no time, with General Secretary Gorbachev publicly praising the revolutionary spirit of the Filipino people. We go live now to the James S. Brady briefing room, where Press Secretary Kathy Bushkin is attempting to manage the storm.
I will take your questions one at a time. Please. Sam, ABC News.
Kathy, let's not mince words. Ferdinand Marcos is reportedly in the custody of rebel forces, likely facing a summary execution, and the streets of Manila are stained with the blood of thousands. Does President Hart accept that his refusal to grant asylum or air support directly contributed to this carnage?
No, Sam. We absolutely do not accept that premise. The violence in Manila was the result of 20 years of dictatorship, not 24 hours of American non-intervention. President Hart made it clear. The United States military is not the private security detail for unpopular foreign leaders. The decision to fire on civilians was made by General Ver and Mr. Marcos, not by this president.
But Kathy, Senator Nunn is saying that by refusing to extract Marcos, we backed a cornered animal into a fight. We have reports that the 13th Air Force at Clark was ready to go. They just needed the go code. Why let the situation burn?
Because, Bill, the Hart Doctrine is about respecting the sovereignty of nations. If we had sent Marines into Malacañang Palace, we would have been combatants in a civil war. The President believes the Filipino people have the right to determine their own future, even if that process is painful.
Painful, Kathy? We're hearing reports that the Soviet embassy in Manila is currently the only foreign mission distributing medical supplies to the rebel factions. Gorbachev is looking like the hero, and we look like the negligent parent. Are we handing the Philippines to the Soviets on a silver platter?
The United States has already reached out to Mrs. Aquino's provisional government to offer humanitarian assistance. We are not handing anything to anyone. The Philippines is a sovereign nation, not a playing card.
Kathy, on that point, what about the bases? Subic Bay and Clark are the logistics hubs for the entire Pacific Fleet and, crucially, NASA's equatorial tracking for the moon launches. If the new government views the U.S. as complicit in Marcos's crimes, or as having abandoned them, are those leases secure?
We fully expect the new government to honor existing treaties between our two nations.
Expect or no? Have you spoken to Corazon Aquino?
The State Department is currently establishing secure lines of communication. We are confident that the strategic partnership serves both nations' interests, regardless of who sits in the palace.
Kathy, one more. There are rumors that elements of the CPP-NPA, communist insurgents, were heavily involved in the storming of the palace. If the new government in Manila tilts socialist, will President Hart intervene then? Or is the Philippines allowed to go red under his watch?
I'm not going to speculate on the political composition of a government that is less than a day old. The president supports democracy. If the Filipino people choose a path different from our own, that is their right. We are watching the situation closely. That's all for today.
That is their right. A defining statement from Press Secretary Bushkin, but one that is sure to send shivers down the spines of the Pentagon brass. If the Philippines drifts out of the American orbit, the implications for the space race are catastrophic. NASA relies on the archipelago for launch abort tracking for the Jamestown missions. Without Manila, the gateway to the stars just got a lot narrower. We will keep you updated on the situation in the Pacific. Coming up next, is helium-3 the answer to the Rust Belt's economic woes? A special report.
Добрый вечер, товарищи. Вы смотрите программу «Время».
Цепи империализма разорваны в Тихом океане. Сегодня вечером мы сообщаем об исторической победе филиппинского народа над тиранией диктатуры, поддерживаемой США.
В течение 20 лет Фердинанд Маркос правил Филиппинами железной рукой, финансируемой и вооруженной Вашингтоном. Но сегодня режим рухнул. Жемчужина Востока горит, но из пепла возникает новый, независимый дух, отвергающий иго иностранных хозяев.
Это цена свободы. На шоссе, известном как Edsa, танки американского производства, проданные режиму Маркоса для защиты интересов американских военных, были обращены против рабочих и фермеров Манилы. Когда народ потребовал справедливости, тиран Маркос обратился за спасением к своим покровителям в Белом доме. Но президент Гэри Харт парализованный противоречиями капиталистической внешней политики, отвернулся от него. Американцы бросили свою марионетку в тот момент, когда она стала им неудобна. Пока Вашингтон обсуждал, Москва действовала. По приказу генерального секретаря Горбачева сегодня утром прибыли экстренные медицинские грузы, плазма крови и хирургическое оборудование для оказания помощи жертвам последней отчаянной резни, устроенной режимом. Мы находимся в импровизированном полевом госпитале в Кесон-Сити. Здесь царит атмосфера гнева по отношению к Соединенным Штатам, но благодарности по отношению к советскому народу.
Мы ждали, что американцы остановят Маркоса. Они ничего не сделали. Они позволили нам умереть. Теперь мы знаем, кто наши настоящие друзья. Революция продолжается.
Сильные слова, Виктор. Падение Маркоса ставит Пентагон перед серьезной стратегической дилеммой. На Филиппинах расположены военно-морская база Субик-Бэй и авиабаза Кларк. Два кинжала, направленные в сердце Азии, и важнейшие звенья американской сети космического наблюдения.
Действительно, Анна. Новое временное правительство, в состав которого входят прогрессивные элементы из числа участников борьбы, уже дало понять, что все неравные договоры с Соединенными Штатами будут пересмотрены.
Генеральный секретарь Горбачев направил телеграмму временным лидерам в Маниле, поздравив их с проявленной смелостью и предложив полную поддержку Советского Союза в восстановлении их экономики, без эксплуататорских условий Всемирного банка.
В других новостях строительство лунной базы «Звезда» продолжается с опережением графика, и новые заводы по переработке гелия-3, как ожидается, начнут работу в мае. В то время как Запад борется с крахом своих колониальных аванпостов, Советский Союз продолжает свой поход к звездам. Мы вернемся после погоды.